After a really good start in Bahrain, the Aston Martin racing team got hit with big problems in Jeddah. But it wasn't because their car was slow, it was because the racing judges gave them lots of penalties. The last race showed that no one is safe if they break the rules. Even though the rules might seem kind of silly, Alonso's team almost made him lose his trophy spot. The racing judges didn't want to change their minds about the rules, but with the judges handing out penalties, like they're giving away candy, people are wondering if anyone trusts them anymore. The practice session in Jeddah went really well for Aston Martin. Verstappen got knocked out early because his car broke down, so it was all up to Alonso. Even though he finished second in practice, he didn't want to give up on winning the race. He had a better starting spot going into the first turn on the inside. And let's be honest, compared to Verstappen, Perez might be easier to pass from the Red Bull team. That's exactly what happened. Alonso did pass Perez at the first corner of the race, but then the two-time world champion put his car in a bad spot, which got him a 5-second penalty that he had to take during his pit stop. Before this happened, Perez decided that he was the one who needed to win this race. He passed Alonso and never looked back. Even though Alonso had good chances of staying in second place, a safety car came out because of his teammate. This is exactly where everything went wrong for Aston Martin, at least before the racing judges changed their minds for the second time in less than 12 hours. Stroll also had a really good practice lap. After finishing 6th, he was able to move up one spot because Leclerc got an engine penalty and had to start 10 places back. The Canadian found himself in 5th place, right behind Sainz and Russell. During the first lap, he didn't waste any time. He was able to get ahead of the Ferrari and then pass Russell for the second race in a row, but after he left the pit stop, his engine broke down. This is where Aston Martin might show they're worried and have problems later on. Even though they copied Red Bull's car design, they definitely don't have Red Bull's engine. We'll talk about Aston Martin's problems later in this story because now it's time for Alonso and his crazy story of losing his trophy spot and then getting mad at the racing judges. When he entered the pit lane to change tires and take his penalty during the safety car, it seemed like the perfect situation for the two-time world champion. But one of his mechanics touched the car during the 5-second penalty time. The rules say clearly that no one can do anything, not even touch the car until the penalty is over. This gave Alonso another 10-second penalty, but this was about to change soon. What seems to be the biggest problem here is that Alonso got his 10-second penalty 35 laps after it originally happened. That was definitely not what happened with his old teammate Ocon in the previous race in Bahrain. The French driver got multiple penalties right away for similar rule breaks. Also, Alonso said he had to drive like he was in practice just to bring home 3rd place after Verstappen passed him. The Spanish driver did admit before the race started that he had little to no chance of fighting with the Red Bulls. He knew Verstappen would likely end up on the podium even though he started way back. Russell was told that Alonso might get hit with another penalty because of the penalty rule break. That's why he decided to pit and get closer to him. This almost got the young British driver a podium finish after having a race that definitely made Mercedes feel hopeful for the future. Sure, it wasn't anything amazing and there's lots of work to be done, but the fact that they finished 4th and 5th after getting crushed the weekend before shows that even small car improvements matter in Formula 1. This time, Mercedes was the team that got the most benefit compared to Bahrain. After the racing, judges played cat and mouse with Alonso's penalty. They decided that the two-time world champion did deserve to keep 3rd place, a spot that was hard to get. So they gave him back his final finishing position and deleted the 10-second time penalty that kicked him off the podium. Alonso was actually very humble about accepting the 10-second penalty from the racing judges, even though he admitted what's wrong. There's definitely a better way for the judges to handle similar situations. That's why he publicly called out the racing judges. He went on to say, "I was good and it doesn't hurt too much to be honest. I was on the podium, I did pictures, I took the trophy, I celebrated, and now I apparently have 3 less points. I don't have 15, I have 12. I think it is more the racing judges' poor show today more than disappointment from ourselves. You cannot apply a penalty 35 laps after the pit stop. They had enough time to tell us about the penalty because even if I knew that, maybe then I could open up 11 seconds to the car behind. Today we didn't put on a good show for our fans. I know the team is trying to review it with the race officials now because we didn't understand fully the second penalty. I care but I don't care that much. I've celebrated and now I have 3 points less. Okay, let's try and get better in Australia." This is exactly the attitude that Aston Martin's main driver should have going into the next races, especially after their car has proven itself to be a real challenger for podium finishes. Even though Red Bull is definitely in their own league, and their speed cannot be matched by any team out there except for themselves, it doesn't mean we're going into a season full of boring races. One thing we could learn from this race was Mercedes' race speed improvement. After Hamilton finished 8th in practice and moved to 7th because of Leclerc's penalty, The 7-time world champion started the race on the hard tires, playing the long game. Even though he was passed by Leclerc and Verstappen in the later part of the race, with Leclerc starting on soft tires and Verstappen on medium tires, the British driver was able to finish ahead of both Ferraris thanks to the safety car action and the race speed boost of their car. Mercedes did announce that they are bringing new improvements to their car in Jeddah, even though Wolff specifically hinted that the car won't magically turn into a race-winning one. These are the kinds of improvements that the team will look forward to. They plan to do this until they bring in the new design of their car, something that's expected to happen later this season in Imola. Having two cars finish 4th and 5th after such a troublesome start to the season shows that Mercedes may not be too far away from keeping second place in the team championship after all. From what we've seen from Ferrari, the team just doesn't seem to learn from its mistakes. Even though Leclerc and Sainz managed to qualify 2nd and 4th on Saturday, with Leclerc taking a grid penalty and starting 12th, both Ferraris finished 6th and 7th. Leclerc said that there wasn't much more left in their car at the ending stages of the race. Also, the young driver was asked about how much work needs to be done at Ferrari. He replied, a lot, really a lot, adding that Red Bull are quicker in every part of the race. So at this point, it's not even a discussion for the championship battle right now. They don't even seem to be good enough to even be in the battle for second place. Mercedes managed to take the most out of the Jeddah Grand Prix and take a solid second place in the team championship. Aston Martin has a lot to be sorry about, especially after Lance Stroll was unable to finish the race because of the Mercedes engine's problems. This just shows that when someone said the Mercedes engine doesn't break, it's not usually a good thing to happen at a time where the engine freeze rules take a huge toll on the development of the 2023 cars. It's possible that Aston Martin tried to squeeze more performance out of the engine, but they've likely passed the limit of what it can handle. This is definitely not a good thing to see in the second race of the season. So with Mercedes saying that they will try to copy Red Bull's designs on their car later in the season, Aston Martin does have a lot to worry about. The only thing that kept them ahead of Mercedes in the previous two races, at least for Alonso, was the design of the car. They were able to build something very close to Red Bull's old car thanks to the knowledge that came from Red Bull to Aston Martin in 2022. But if Mercedes manages to take Red Bull's new car design, perfect it, and develop it in their wind tunnels, Aston Martin's advantage could be completely gone. But that's a topic for our next video. Right. Now we're disgusted to see that the racing judges are taking away and then giving back the podium finish to Alonso in such a way. Every F1 fan out there feels the same way. With that in mind, do you think that something needs to change when the racing judges give penalties to the drivers, or do you think it should stay the way it is, with team members telling their drivers that a penalty might be coming after the race ends? Let us know in the comments below.